Yeah. Girl, man, gotta sum that up. You know, we're not supposed to eat egg, we're supposed to eat egg, and we're supposed to eat. Yeah. It's on the radio, so we we're supposed to eat seafood, all this, we can't smoke. Sex is bad for you. He called you that. So you live long. He touched me. I said, hey, baby. Yeah. There's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. All right.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gary, you might.
God, we thank you for the opportunity to come here today and do the business of the county. We ask your guidance on commissioners and to make decisions and consistent with the best interest of the county. We ask for protection on folks traveling today and on county employees as they're out and about. Pray that in all things.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And then there's the claims.
Make a motion to approve our claims amount of $302,000, $302,444.88.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Gary, you got anything right off the bat? David?
I don't right now. Janet's coming over later with the personnel session, and I'd like to tack a few minutes on that for personnel when she does, but nothing that's pressing right now.
Any more?
Good morning, Louis Eloy, AMR Operations Supervisor. Galen's delayed the jackknife truck. I don't have the numbers, but the sheriff and I were discussing, there has been, this week was really good in EMS aspect, as there's been a giant dramatic decrease in calls for service, which is always a good thing in our field. Our new supervisor, Derek, if you guys haven't met him, is like a steamroller, moving fast. He's now the education and continuing education guy, and he's implementing great stuff to get our guys kind of trained up at a higher level, even here at the local level for us. So I expect some really good stuff coming from Derek. When you guys get a chance to meet him, pick his brain, real good guy. I was able to recruit a paramedic, so our 3 employees down now went down to 2, which gave us a big break. And then we have one of our EMTs who just finished medic school, who should be testing in December, which can be exactly what we're looking at. And that's kind of been our plan. After our last couple meetings here, we've gone back with our management team and discussed, well, since there isn't medics available in the metro, we're going to have to take care of this ourselves by sending our people through school and helping people pay for school. Because as you know, on the board of EMS, it's crazy right now how many medics we're down. So we're not going to wait for them to come to us. We're going to start training them and sending them through. And this new company has just been amazing. Who bought us out, which is the GMR platform, as far as recruitment and retention and taking care of employees. Other than that, it's been a quiet week. I hate to say that out loud. That was last week. I'm not saying it for this week. And, yeah, I almost slid off myself a few times today, so we're going to take it nice and safe today. Questions?
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner. Kevin Friend, Linn County Sheriff. As he stated, we were down quite a few 911 calls this past week, probably somewhere in the realm of 100 down. So we had 92 911 calls, and that number is usually at least 75 to 100 more. So he said the Q word, so that'll probably all change today. So currently, we're at 26 prisoners. We have 20 in-house and 6 farmed out. We probably would have a few more farmed out, but no facilities around us are taking prisoners currently, mainly due to COVID in their facilities. Everybody else is hit pretty hard with it, so that's kind of where we're at. This past week, we did have 246 calls for service, which is in the normal range, so we still had a lot of call load. We just had less emergent calls. I included a few things there in your report. One of those was damage to a wall in the jail that one of the prisoners got upset and beat up a wall. We've repaired that with plywood. And then there is a insert in there in regard to Ora Munger, who was a grand criminal in Linn County back in 2018. He's returned to Linn County for his court cases. He's been in custody pretty much since 2018, but just now returned back. And then there's an insert in there about some prop money or motion picture money that has been circulating through the county. And we put that out to our business owners and all county employees just to notify folks of that situation. Other than that, we have currently a semi-truck jackknifed up on 69 just north of 1350 road. So it's got southbound lane shut down, as many of you know, by trying to get to the meeting today. So that's all I have. Anything for me?
Is this the first time this ever happened, the wall damage? Surely not, right? Is that your?
Oh, no, there's other damage, repair places in the facility, but that's just happened this weekend. So I included it so you guys know that there was some damage there. But been
Go
repaired.
out in the garage, right?
Right there on the bench.
Man, he didn't remember on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tisha?
Good morning, Tisha Coleman, Linn County Health Department. First of all, I will let you know that I did receive a boil water advisory this morning for the city of Blue Mound from Kansas Department of Health and Environment. I don't know any details of it other than just that we had gotten the boil water advisory. As far as COVID goes, our numbers are 114 total, 10 active, the 1 death, and then still 1 active cluster. Kansas Department of Health and Environment added North Dakota travel after October 21st to their travel quarantine list. We are now able to do we're expanding our testing opportunity to where instead of doing 2 symptoms of COVID, we now can do the 1 symptom. And then we can also do asymptomatic testing. So if someone is exposed, it's now recommended to get tested between day 7 and 14 after exposure to a known positive. I've let the clinics know that as well. And so that's the free testing that we can send to KDHE. Previously, we weren't able to send 1 symptom or asymptomatic testing, just they had to have 2 symptoms or more. We are doing a drive in or through testing on this Friday, October 30th. People can sign up. It's through KU. Med Center is the link that's provided. We put out on Facebook. We can put it on the website, and they'll need to be signed up by Wednesday at 3:00 to have the free testing done. We are continuing to give free flu shots. We are going to all the schools this week to do students and staff, and next week we're going out into the community. Just want to encourage, the next few months will be probably a increased illness time with everybody being inside and everything and close, and plus with the influenza that we have. So I want to encourage social distancing. mask usage, hand hygiene, and staying home if you're sick or exposed to someone. Any questions for me?
Just one, and I think you got the same emails as I did about the differences between the amount of cases reported from the state versus ours.
Are you talking about the 125 or 126? Yes, so,
We get it worked out.
well, so I'm not for sure exactly where those numbers are coming from, other than what I did and what I was told was you just Google COVID cases in Kansas, and up comes 125 or 126 compared to what our 109 was. And I don't know where that data is coming from. The only data I compare our reports to is KDHE's. And KDHE's is like usually about 2 off from us. So
The address is right.
the only thing we can determine, because I had the one person that was questioning that, we called and had a conversation. And the only thing that we maybe can determine is the overlapping of counties, like, or the zip code and being like in another county, but it's actually it's
Living in Miami and having a
Linn
place
County,
address.
yeah, Linn County address or whatever. So that's the only thing that we can determine. So the only thing that again, I don't know where exactly that number or those
Okay.
numbers come from. Everything I compare to is the map of KDHE.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
That's all I had.
Okay,
Thank you.
questions? Okay.
Galen, do you want to visit with us, or he already kind of covered everything? You got anything to say?
Yeah, it sounds like we touched on everything. There's, I think, one other thing I was thinking about updating you guys. Galen Anderson with the American Medical Fund. And he touched on the staffing bit, and that was our big exciting news this week. So far for the month, our numbers are at 43 transports for October, and the last 7 days we've done 12 transports. So bit of a slower month, but as I always say, it always goes up and down. So, and then we haven't talked about supplies in a while, and I just kind of wanted to give you an update on that. We're doing, and Lewis is actually our in charge of supplies for the operation here, and he does a great job with keeping us stocked up on everything we need. And company-wide, they've pushed us all the operations in the company to go to a 90-day backstock of all critical personal protective equipment, and they instituted that months ago, but I don't know if we haven't talked about it for a while. So every AMR operation, including Linn County, keeps a 90-day backstock of basically how many masks, gowns, gloves, eye protection that we would need if the whole supply chain got like shut down completely, that we would be able to sustain ourselves for 90 days, each local operation. And then to supplement that, the company has strategic stockpiles across the country that they have in reserve to support the local operations in case there's like a blip in a supply chain for gloves or for gowns or something like that. And then that's all entirely within the company before ever needing like government resources. So just wanted to give you an update on that. The supply chain does seem pretty consistent and pretty dependable now. There's from time to time, we still have like a back order on like gloves from time to time or gowns or something like that, but we've been able to get the supplies in that we need pretty consistently. So I haven't talked about that for a while, so just wanted to let you know where we stand with supplies, but I think that's all we have. And then I know Lou touched on that we were able to fill our open paramedic spot, and then our other paramedic that's out on injury had a successful surgery and will probably be coming back to fill back to regular duty in 3 to 4 weeks or so, maybe 4 to 5 weeks at this point. So then there won't be any extra shifts for anyone to have, and then that'll be our main worry. Of course, that's not a worry. So that's kind of everything else I had to add. Did you have anything for me?
No. Thank you. Be safe on your way home.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Jack?
Good morning, Jackie Messer, Public Works Administrator. I had a few things for you today. I submitted another grant request this week, actually last Friday, for Bodkin and 31 Highway. If we are successful in this grant, it will cost us around 100 or 125,000. It will cost, or they'll kick in 150,000. So no matter, I'm anticipating about a $225,000 bridge replacement. So I should hear in about a month on that one. It would be also 2022 construction. And the money basically that we submit or we have to pay out is probably, I can't remember the name of that program, but federal government gives the state a chunk of money and they turn around and give us a portion of it, which is about 100,000 a year, which we put into
The bridge program.
bridge program. So by the time you figure out using that money, it's probably none of these projects going to have any taxpayer money in it. It's all going to be money from the state roundabout way. Since they give us about 100,000 a year, we bank it for bridges. So that's what we'll be doing. We did get that crack seal machine last week. We paid $6,300 for it, so I thought we did pretty good on that. I do have a second request I want to replace the trailer. It's been on our budget request, and right now Purple Wave has a significant number of them on there, so it's a buyer's market right now. And here's some of the ones we're looking at.
The recovery trailer from the state.
Yes. The problem with the one we have is pretty unsafe right now because we've got thin axle tires that are hard to find. And we wanted to get one
17.5s.
similar to this that has a winch on it that helps us get that equipment up there so it's not as dangerous. So there's about a dozen of them because they're getting rid of them all at once. So I wanted authorization to that one the guys are talking about.
Didn't you share, is that one you shared here a few weeks ago?
Yeah, but I never went forward with it. Now this week is when I say it
When it says,
and
what is it now, do you know?
Yeah, right here.
yeah, they're not,
And this auction closes this week, huh?
yeah. And I just want an authorization.
So you need that.
I want an authorization to go to that.
I'll tell you.
I think you'll,
40/20's on a single.
I got low.
I do, but
Oh, I will.
I don't know. I look back in the back
I
history.
move on Sundays usually.
good. Well,
I'm hoping. So that's the kind of.
we bought one off Purple Wave. It's just that you're going to resell that one and
Yeah, so I just want authorization to go that high.
You don't want me making a motion on it. I screwed it all up last time.
yeah, but the number that was approved last week for that thing there is less than the money than what he was offering us.
What are you doing with the old trailer?
So sell it
Put it on Purple Wave?
if we can.
What do you
They
think?
look at it and see if it's as unsafe as we think it is, they may not. I don't know. They'll just list all those needs and axles.
I'll take it. I'll take
You
it.
want to sell nothing in mind then.
So if I could get authorization to stand up to the specified amount. I'm not saying it's an opportunity right now because the state's dumping about 10 or 12 of them at once.
That
So-
note you wrote was what you were thinking?
Yes.
There's several of them on the auction, huh?
Yeah, we have the ones we like to, there's two of them there, the one, absolutely with a winch on the front. So that when we start loading this equipment, it's not gonna slide off.
What are those hydraulic tilt?
Yeah, they're actually hydraulic tilt and hydraulic braking down, and then they have the slide backwards as well. We call them a recovery trailer, and then they use the winch to recover a piece of equipment that's not running or suck them on there.
Does that thing
Typically
go
is what it's used for. Yeah, it typically goes back and then down, and then when you bring it forward, it doesn't flop over. I had a 10 years ago that had that system and didn't work, and it would, if you didn't load it right, it would flop over, so.
Well, like in the morning, you go out in the morning, there's frost on that trailer trying to load a piece of equipment. And I think Linn County has a sad record on what happened in the past with that, so. There was a fatality over 4 years ago loading a piece of equipment.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that number, Jack. I don't know how we want to address that again, but
Well, you would just have a motion authorize them to make bid within the approved amount, and then for the sale, or if he gets the bid, you'll have to approve the right to check.
so moved. The amount you disclosed to us.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Oops.
Move second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, another thing I'm working on was I talked a few weeks ago about, we had it in the budget to replace 3 pickup trucks. I'd like to go out for bid on those. It would be the 3 foreman vehicles. One of them's got 190,000, another one's got 160, another one's about 150. So I'd like to replace those 3 trucks. It's been budgeted and it's capital outlay set aside for it. I'd like to put them out on bids.
Do you typically move them trucks down into the fleet and get rid of
Yes.
something that's older?
Yep, and I got like 4 of them on the hit list that's gonna go. One of them's without one of them's transmission's out. We've got about 6 or 7 vehicles. We'll probably be bringing you in a couple of weeks to put on Purple Wave. Couple of dump trucks and,
Is there any special needs, like what you want on the truck, different than what we got now?
no, 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive. And I'd like to just go ahead and put them out for bid, and then I guess when they come back, can approve it or not approve it, I guess. But I just want to let you know, those trucks are getting pretty high mileage. I mean, the 3 foreman vehicles is what they are. We did have a Evergy meeting last week. Mike was there. I think it was a very good meeting. It's kind of cleared the air on, they've had a transition of people and I didn't know who to contact. They've got new people. Now we have a line of communication.
That's for the park and the bridge is what the.
Yeah, no, we didn't talk about the park, but they said, they gave me a different name to talk to somebody about the park. So I've got communications all established there. One of the things that they brought up and I was not aware of, and then somebody just made a comment. I don't even remember who said that. Well, in the past, they helped us with the asphalt. And I thought, well, they did. I didn't know that. So I talked to them about that. And they said if I get them a bill for what we spent this summer, they do budget that as a line item, asphalt for that bridge. So I'm working on a, I think it's going to be around over $100,000 is their half of it. So I'll be working with them on that.
So are we putting together a document for that?
Yes, we talked about that.
Okay.
I talked, in fact,
Memorandum of understanding or something?
yeah, in fact, the comment I made to him is 10 years from now, if I'm not here, you're not here, and they start doing the bridge again, who knows this stuff? So I brought Pam in the meeting because she's been helping write these up. They've kind of slipped on the back burner because so much else going on right now, but we have 2 we need to move forward with. I hope to get them, a draft of them this week, get them to the public works directors of the 2 counties, say, what do you think? It changes, can you agree to this? And then we'll do a final format. I'll bring it to you guys. You can look at it and say, move forward with it or not. But we're going to try to grab the first 2, and then we're going to use the same format to write a memorandum of agreement.
So you're talking about Miami and Bourbon?
Miami and Bourbon
What about
with
Bates?
2. Well, I'm working on them too, but
Yeah,
I have to do the townships there.
I know.
And so if I get these 2 knocked out and get a good, strong template, then it's going to be easier to do the others. We'll do Anderson, Homer, and I'm not quite sure who's south of I'm going to find out here pretty quick because I also got notification from Crocan that they've got a major project coming up, and I'm going to be going week after next to Girard to a pre-con meeting of putting new fiber optics from Hume this way. So I think that'll be a good chance to meet the other township if they show up.
Is it
So-
coming from you?
Well, it's called it the Hume Exchange.
Yeah.
So they're working on that. So we're working on that as well. Like I said, a really good meeting with them. I do have I got a ton of stuff. A request for a burial permit from Anderson County Water District. And it's on,
Consolidated one.
yes, south of 1350 on Irwin. They want to cross the road, open trench with 1-inch PVC. Walker Main extension. What they wanted approval for, they submitted the check for it.
Just gravel,
Cross
Open.
gravel.
open cut.
Yep, I went and looked at it yesterday and I see no conflicts of any kind.
Mr. Eastwood.
He dropped it off Friday late.
No problem then.
I couldn't see any
I'll
problem.
make a motion that we approve burial permit 2020-08.
Second.
Motion been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
You could take all three signatures here.
We're working on, I talked last week briefly. I just wanted to show you a little bit of the damage that was done on that, unreported damage that was on that 1950 bridge. Working on with Jason Hodgkinson on the, I want to modify that bridge design. We got to replace the entire rail. We might as well do it right. So I'm trying to get an engineer
Is how it is? Is it how it is right there? Is that right?
to.
Is that right? I mean, is that just some angle iron bolted onto some other angle iron?
Yeah, we got those all over the place.
Or we
All of
don't,
those-
or we don't have any.
They're all bent over.
There's
Somebody
a,
hit that.
there's an overflow about a half mile south of this one that don't, wouldn't have any, but.
Kevin even went up
No,
there.
that's-
They didn't touch it. They bulldozed it over. They laid it down and they broke stones on the piers underneath. They busted the mortar. The bridge is not compromised, but I want to see if I can get a plan together to do instead of having those angle iron uprights, cut everything off and put a regular guardrail down there with proper ends on it. Might as well do it since they're all leaned over.
Well, only suggestion that I'd have, of course, the guardrail would be minimally low, but what's tonnage on this bridge? What's it rated?
7.
7.
And whoever went over it when they took it out, they were more than 7 because you could see the tracks and
Is there a concrete deck over this Q decking or is it just gravel?
metal deck, I believe, underneath there. It's a metal deck underneath there.
It's metal, but is there any concrete on top of it or is it just gravel? Surely.
No, in fact, they tore a hole in it. But how you tear a hole in the metal deck? And they kind of took the rail with us because I suspect it had colored paint on it that might help us. And
So when we did our bridge assessment, did this bridge come up any? I mean,
They're looking at the integrity of the decks and the piers and the columns and the abutments and the head walls and all that stuff. And they'll probably make a note that it's inadequate guardrail, but they're not going to give you a design on
No.
it. They're just going to say, hey, this is inadequate.
I did have that conversation with Jason on that. I said, can we put this one in instead of Bodkin because of the issues? And that one's too long. And we're going to have to wait till after we deal with Hell's Bend and we'll put in for a grant request on that one next year.
Is it a compound span or is it just one span?
2, I think.
I can't tell.
So, but anyway, that was one of our challenges from last week.
been taken out a few times probably.
Well, if you put anything very high, I know this encourages crossing them with equipment, but them guys will cut them off and drop them. And, I don't have to drop my header if I just run across the top of this bridge. you know?
I think somebody was,
And I got a feeling
I
it's
honestly
there.
think somebody was out of control and came on it too fast because they were off the road completely. And, you know, like I said, Kevin went up and investigated it, trying to figure out if, that would have been a perfect case of, here's what we have, insurance company, please help us out and pay for this repair, but it was unreported, so
When it's unreported, there's no,
not a whisper. Nobody
oh, you
saw
mean
anything.
somebody else's insurance helping them?
Yes. Nobody said a word.
No pain on that? Did they?
Everything was broken off the state. It was a large trailer or something that it came around the corner and clipped that edge of the bridge and pulled it off. And I think probably that top angle iron is what they ran over it and then it pushed it through the deck of the bridge itself.
It's a one-lane bridge. Yeah, it's a one-lane bridge.
So what do we have there right now? It's not closed down, is it?
No. I got up underneath it and looked up there.
that
It's
just a-
busted some masonry away, and all the guardrails are laid over.
That's just a stacked stone pillar. Is that what that is?
So we'll keep it on our list to try to do something with. I mean, the ones that I see now that are the biggest issues in the county, now that Hell's Bend's going to be taken care of, is the one at Vernon, the old historic bridge. And that one. There's two of the ones that I would think that we need to look at.
Vernon, I'm sorry.
Vernon.
Are you talking about the old 69?
Yeah, old 69, Ungenhauer. I said Vernon, Ungenhauer.
They're just south of 850.
It's a solid bridge, so it's not hitting warning bells for the state. But they also did say that they're getting most of the fracture critical off the list. So now they're looking at other ones now because they've been the priority for so long that now other bridges are creeping in. So let's hope that we can get some of this stuff. The other one is the issue that we've talked about, and I talked to Gary. This is that road over there. We don't have a road name, but it's basically where Lonnie Martin put that gate. I went over and looked at it. Basically, here's your road coming down here. He put the gate here. The county property line is here. So, and there's 5.9 acres right here. It's
You've got really about 3 or 4 different options we need to make a decision on. What he wants to do is to buy that 5.9 acres, fenced out along the highway, or along Tucker, and that would be his property then, and we can close the road, he'd own the 5.9 acres, and he'd gate it right there in the finish line. That's what he wants to do. That's one option. The second option would be to declare that a minimum maintenance road. Don't sell him the land, keep it. Declare that a minimum maintenance road and allow a gate there on your property. Third option would be to not declare it a minimum maintenance road and require that any gate be at the end of the road where he owns the property to the east and the south. So you'd require that the gate be on him, either at the end of the road or along the side of the road somewhere. And then I guess the fourth option would be just to say, as long as we got a road there, get blocked. So I guess the threshold question is, do you want to sell this 5.9 acres to close the road?
Here's a couple of pictures. This down here is where it curves around, not even close to the. And then we have a solid fence line there. This next to the road. This right,
There's a little gap, and then the fence starts, and the fence runs.
yeah, and this is all fenced,
That's the state.
not from here on. So, and it's a pretty good fence.
This is 69 or old 69. This is the overpass.
It's got a good fence down there. It just doesn't run all the way to the gate because the property cuts over here. They just never fixed it because it's on the other side of the road. I guess Skylar Martin owns it. He's concerned that there's people dumping trash in it, but we have that other locations in the county that we don't let them put gates up. So that's what makes it a little bit more difficult. We've rejected gates up on 1250 and up on several locations. So part of the problem was the gate showed up without, I mean, if you looked at it, I mean, I give them that. If you looked at it, it looks like it was a logical place for the gate.
It's in the fence,
It's in the fence line, but it is nowhere near
but it's not on his property.
on his property. It's on our property. But I need a sense of direction what to tell him. If my concern last week was the bridge right here. We have plenty of room underneath it. His property will cut over this way. But we do have right of way under that bridge on each side of it.
What about the overpass? Whose
The
responsibility is?
overpass.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd I do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you're going
I'm
right.
looking upside down. So.
All right. And then we have a bridge down on the very end of it. There's some benefits to probably whichever way you go. If you turn this road over, sell the property, you don't have to no longer inspect that bridge.
It's not a bridge. It's a culvert because it's 18 feet. It's a big box culvert. It's
If it's
18
more
feet.
than 10, it's,
20.
huh?
20. Over 20, it's a bridge.
If the span is more than 20, then it's a bridge.
Bridge. And if there's cells, if you total them up, you'd still have 20. But it was 18. I went and measured it.
So all these boxes we have in the county that are less than 20 feet aren't being inspected?
No. We've started inspecting them through PubWorks with some of the people in the winter when it starts. We're trying to do it. And so we've inspected all the culverts. We didn't know where they were, how many we had. So we started a program 2 years ago to identify them, put them in PubWorks. We've got about 90% identified. And we have a list of ones with issues that, in fact, I gave some of them over to Hotkins to start evaluating them. But yeah, if it's 18 feet, 19 feet, does not get inspected. By the state required inspection. And we have not gotten back to them because we still have 10, maybe 15% of them to finish and get in the system. And that's where we found.
Well, the point's valid, whether it's a state, whatever, there's a structure down there on the end of that road that we would no longer have responsibility of. Although it's in very good shape, right?
Yes.
Probably got reinstalled somewhere where this highway works somehow by the state.
Skylar owns all three pieces, right?
Yes, they purchased the middle piece, so they were hoping to vacate the road, but the road's not even on.
But because they called me about it, isn't that what we told them? If they need to talk to Clarkson, if they buy the land that they
No,
can put a gate up?
that's not what I told them. I told them, if you owned all three, you could petition to vacate, if you owned all three. But there was no guarantee of any, I said, I don't think they told you guys to. I never told them that that's what would happen. And I didn't realize at the time, that is not even on them. They're wanting to vacate a road that's not on the property. It's entirely on county. Entirely on county. So that's why it's become a kind of a weird issue.
So this is the land below the slope of off that road, right? So this is just a bunch of trees.
Yeah.
There's another one that promised to be back.
Mike, you see any value in that land
This
potentially for sale, resale, for
If-
business or
But it's
whatever?
not on.
It's right across the road
If there's
from our,
value, I'd say we keep it and just make it a minimum maintenance road. Offer for that. If it's got very little value in the future for the county, then I wouldn't mind.
The value I see is if you have to do some work on that overpass, and that is truly is that our bridge, and we're inspecting
Yes,
it.
yes.
And if that's the case, then you may eventually need to have, this borrow pit here behind Fabcom, which used to be our property, that big lake, was part of the borrow, as well as this one and this one for these road projects. And Andy was probably working for Clarkson at the time, but I think this dirt was borrowed to make this overpass with. Now, that's not to say that you're gonna need more dirt, but if you ever have to work on that bridge, there's some merit to owning that, or putting language in a buy-sell contract that says, hey, we're going to retain an option to use this as construction or something like that, but just an option on, Gary, what is it?
Yeah, it'd be an easement to, a construction easement that we would retain to, that would allow us to, number one, access the land if we need to for construction purposes. And number two, we would build in an option to purchase builders from off that land. We still probably pay for it, but we could force them to do it.
There also is a significant drainage in those trees right here. There's a pretty good drainage right here that carries a lot of water.
Which if we sold it to them would be, they wouldn't, I mean, how would that work? I mean, if there was any, would it be the same thing if we ever needed to work on some kind of drainage or something, would that be on us or them, or?
Well, I mean, we're talking about, if, let's say that some drainage on us is having a problem because of being a leak, we've got the right to go in there and make it work.
Okay.
But, if they would come in and block it up so that our ditch fills up, can't do that.
You need an answer now?
Nope.
No,
Okay.
no, I just want to,
You need to think about it. I mean, like, let me just lay out the 4 options. Get number one, sell them the whole thing, walk their hands of it. Number two, declare it minimum maintenance, but allow a gate to be put on us.
And we still hold responsibility for maintenance, and if needed, he could make us do that, right?
It'd be minimum maintenance. So minimum maintenance means if us giving notice to the world, we're not gonna do
We're
it.
not doing anything.
The third would be to, declare it minimum maintenance and not let it put a gate on us, which means they have to put it somewhere on their fence line or down at the end of the road, one or the other. And then the fourth option would be to do nothing.
which is hard because the gate's sitting there like
So
a
we have
sore
to
thumb.
take the gate out. Part of doing nothing would be say, take the gate out and the road staying wide open.
The road is in extremely good condition because I believe it was built by KDOT for accessing that bridge or that overpass.
So if there was 3 different owners, we probably wouldn't even be talking about this,
That
right?
would be.
But they own everything.
And if we close that road, if we completely close it, then that's gonna constrain what they can do in terms of selling any of that off. You know, because anything they sell off, they'll have to have access.
And one of us is getting contacted every week on this. Either Danny, Gary, or I.
When you guys want to sum this up?
Whenever you're ready to make a decision, in the meantime, we just tell them the decision has not been made.
Oh, we allowed him to close the gate. He gave me a key.
Yeah, I saw it this morning.
Temporarily close the gate since it was there and since they were concerned. They could close it until you got a decision made. So we do have a key and you were the only ones that need it.
Okay, the last thing, are we done with that one? The last thing I had is I'm going to be bidding out culverts here pretty soon because we're getting pretty low on culverts.
Culverts or-
No, the round culverts. We are beginning to have issues, and I've got a couple of areas I'm probably going to work with Gary. We're getting more and more people are just putting culverts in without consulting us. There's one I looked at yesterday. They put like an 8-inch in there after we graded the road and did it. I need to find out which operator did it because it was a fantastic job of cleaning the ditches and grading it. Well, the landowner didn't like it, the fact that he couldn't get across. Instead of coming to us and having us put in a culvert, he stuck a little 8-inch culvert in there, which we have a large ditch with an 8-inch culvert. So, and we also have another location up there I'm working with that they put an asphalt one in, just. So we're getting a little bit of issues with people putting culverts in without, on our right of way without even talking to us. So I'm working on 2 or 3 cases right now on that. The one, we're absolutely going to have them take it out and put something larger because it's no sense cleaning out a ditch if you only got a 8-inch culvert to try to carry the water. It's not going to work.
Are they understanding, the people that did
They
it?
just did it without even talking to us, and we
We got anything on our website about it?
don't know. I'd have to
We
look.
probably should put something out there if it's becoming
Okay.
an issue.
Okay. That's all I had, and I need about a 15-minute personnel. So,
Thanks, Jackie.
all right, thank you.
Gary, you got anything you want to talk about before we? We'll go ahead and open up for public comment if you want. We're going to open up for public comment this time. If anybody has anything they want to step up, state your name and your question. I hear the.
Okay.
State your name and what your question, please.
I'm Patrick Huntley, and I have an unresolved issue. Several months ago, my wife came to Commissioner McCullough with her account of how 2 Linn County deputies took part in sexually assaulting her when she was 14 years old at her parents' house. And it's an issue, and I was instructed to make sure you all are aware of it. And it's only an issue now because one of them is running for sheriff. So it was well documented at the time, and there was
Documented where, Pat?
at the sheriff's office when Marvin Stites was in.
Okay.
And there were several witnesses. And so shortly after that, both of these deputies left the sheriff's department. And my wife's parents were told that they were fired and they were going to be charged. And so they just, seeing that they were gone, they just forgot about it until now. So all I'm doing here is I'm making sure that you 3 are aware of the situation.
Are you aware if the KBI was contacted?
They were,
Okay.
along with the FBI.
Okay.
So
All right.
are you aware? If you have any questions, we're more than willing to meet with you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll close it. Are you still checking or you want to?
Bill, I will just report back to you that I have made some significant progress in putting together some regulations for the Centerville sewer. I don't have it ready yet.
I got Jackie. While we're all in here, I did get a phone call. I talked to you a little bit about the roads, the main road here in Mountain City being really dirty. I mean, have they been addressed? And I mean, is there another route they can take, or I mean to?
No, they're putting it in the main road that they're on west of town. So at some point they're going to hit it. But they understand, they, by the time I found out about it, they were already washing the road out. They knew that. So
Okay. How's everything else going over there? They any reporting need to be done?
But
Yeah.
I don't look for them to work this week hardly at all. Because we're expecting this rain all through Thursday.
Right now they're over there doing ground packing and whatnot. Mike, you know a little more about that stuff than I do.
They're placing structural fill and what drives that material was going in, they were having to bring up the moisture content. They had, it's not Missouri Valley, but they have geotechnical services over there and they're having to water it heavily in order to get the moisture maximum compaction at the optimum moisture level. But tracking on the roads hadn't even really began until this moisture starts on both ends where they have to get it stuck in between their tandems. But
How's that affect their, because they were, it's been so dry and they had to add all that moisture. Now we got all this moisture. How's that? I mean, does it affect it?
when they proctor that material from the borrow site, they will they'll bring that into a lab and they'll bake it and dry it and measure it and then wet it and measure it and bake it and dry it. And they'll do that 2 or 3 different times and they develop a maximum compaction at a maximum moisture level. And if it's not within that moisture level, whether it's natural and existing, they have to, that geotechnical will make a determination whether it's compromising the fill or not. And so as they're doing that, they either have to bring the moisture up or open it up with like a roaming disc and let it air and go from there. But once it starts getting too wet, almost any material will pump and heave. And so they'll have to keep that within that maximum level to do that. LVC or low volume change. Anyway,
What happens if it
it's
gets
being
too wet?
absorbed.
I mean, is there?
They have to open it up and dry it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, that's
It'll stop. It becomes where they're pumping and they can't get that. They got a nuclear density tester that measures the moisture and the compaction, and they're not within those range or very, very close to those ranges. Why they'll shut it down because they're recording every test, and they'll be available for anybody to look at. They won't pull the Open Records Act or whatever, but if it gets too wet, they'll have to shut it down to the dried up, or same way the material coming in, they can't place it unless it's within that range.
Is there be a point where the job site superintendent's gonna be coming and sharing with us on Mondays, or how are we gonna do that?
I'm sure they would come in anytime you would like them to. They have not at this point set up a schedule to come on an every Monday basis, but he probably won't be the job site superintendent, probably Warren Moody, who's over.
Right.
Whatever, they're open to communicating to the extent you want to communicate. So if you want them in here on a weekly basis or on a Zoom on a weekly basis, talking to you about what's going on, they can do it. Or if you want them to do it every couple of weeks or whatever you want.
Yeah, I'd like to hear something. I think the community would too. So I don't know if we can reach out to them, just kind of ask them what they're thinking, and maybe get something set up. Unless you guys were opposed, or what you guys think? Good with that. All right. Are we ready for our session?
Yeah, Jackie had wanted to 15 minutes for personnel. I had about just a very brief, maybe 10 minutes on legal to cover with it.
It's jacked on about 5 personnel for me. Okay. By the time we get done with all that, Janet should be coming over for the one she needs. So.
Gary, you needed what? Legal?
So the total was 20 personnel, and then I need just to go over a couple things real quick. That's 10 minutes.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session with Jack for 15 for personnel, and then Gary 10 minutes for legal, and approximately 5 for David for personnel.
Second.
Move second, all in favor?
You good?
I kind of agree. That's it.
Open session. Personnel. 15. Dude, we're getting ready to go into personnel.
Yeah, but did you have some action here?
We can probably set it till after that, go ahead and have another 10 minute break onto that personnel session.
So make a motion that we go back in.
Is that your motion? I'll second.
How long by personnel?
15?
And additional 10 minutes to leave.
What was my motion?
Okay. All right. Motion been second, all in favor?
Aye. Yes.
Yeah, I've given him a list and I'm adding to it.
Community thing, yeah. Or the actual ones that's gonna help oversee it.
Actually, I'm gonna give him several, and if they want three, they can pick through who they want. I've already given him several, but I'm gonna add one today. I don't know how they're doing that, whether this is just an appointment or they're gonna interview some folks. I don't know.
Should be our appointment. For that, and the focus group should be that, I would think, be on him.
We had a little bit of motion happen in the time we were gone. Mike, you want to elaborate a little bit?
Dave, you got the,
I have some information here that I think we wanting to do. The first thing, discussion with Jackie Mether about having Mike Nation work as a supervisor on a building project over there, and to compensate him with an extra $5 per hour while he's doing that job. So that would take a motion to.
And that's paid for by?
the spark funding,
Right.
my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion moving, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, I think we need to have a motion to continue the advertisement for, have you got some language to share with us?
Okay, then there was discussion about continuing to run ads for local tradespeople for various scopes of work needed for the health department project. And I think we were needing a motion to continue with that process. Is there anything else, Gary, on that part of it?
I want to be able to reach out to, if we don't, not getting a response from the paper, the advertisements or the website or whatever we're doing, be able to reach out, obviously giving preference to Linn, appropriate amount of preference to Linn County contractors, but the different trades you're going to need for the project, emergency resolution, whatever.
The emergency nature of this is the time frame. You got to get this done by the end of December. So that your purchasing policy allows you to go ahead and reach out. If you need to use contractors, reach out to them. Discuss it.
Okay.
So
So
we need the motion to do that.
to
Continue.
continue running the ad, and authorize the commissioners to individually reach out to contractors or tradespeople that are interested or have some interest in the project.
My motion.
Second. Moving, second, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we
Need to ratify a contract.
had, when was that? What, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the concrete, we made a motion to,
Yeah, some weeks ago, you heard, the commissioners made a motion on the record to authorize, Danny to get somebody to do the concrete. And, you're now ready to, I think, ratify that contract he verbally entered into last week.
I'll make a motion that we ratify the contract with Ryan Walker Flatwork. This is the correct name, with Ryan Walker out of Lacine, to do prep and finish on the 4,800 square feet flat work at the health department.
What was the price?
9,500.
And you send a copy of that today.
David, yep.
It's available to Barb, who's looking for a copy.
I'll second the motion.
Moving, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We got everything covered now?
Think so.
Andy, I asked for you just for a second for the Mike says he's already got several names for you for that thing, the community, what's it called? Community?
Comprehensive plan.
No, I know, but what's it called?
It's more like a steering committee, it's a community.
Yeah. So, and I've got a couple of names for you. My question is, and the reason I brought you in is, you're gonna want the commissioners to approve those individuals, and you're gonna take care of, your group's gonna take care of all the focus group people. Is that right?
You give me the names that you feel you want leading this,
Uh,
and I'll give it to the consultant,
okay,
and he will personally contact
okay.
So he'll then present you with a slate based on the names you've given.
So,
Why would I let him pick my people for our county? He didn't know us.
He's gonna be hearing what they have to say as far as, does he think they're gonna be fair? You know what I mean?
Okay, I can go that part, but,
And interested and willing.
right. Yeah,
And not an agenda really is probably what they're looking
Sure.
for. We got somebody with a huge agenda and
everyone's gonna have, almost, is gonna have some type of an agenda.
have some faith, brother. Hold the faith.
as we get the names, or do you want us to email them to you, or?
Email,
Okay.
be great.
That's the only thing I had. I just want to make it clear because I know we owe you this because you need to get this going. So I think by next week we should have everything turned in. Hint? You got yours?
I already got it done.
You don't either.
Paper last week, this is referred to as something other than a comprehensive plan. Remember it was called,
Steering advisory committee, was that?
no, it was.
Community something.
A mishearing of the word comprehensive. It
Oh.
was, can't remember now what it was, but we want to make sure that everybody's clear that what we're talking about is a comprehensive plan.
Thanks, Andy. We'll get you going.
I had a guy reach out to me that. All right. Jack, you got something else?
We already did it, man. Where was you?
I've got some paperwork that we need to get.
Excited looking for that. Probably did. We normally scan them first. We didn't scan them first. Thank you.
Do we got anything else? Talking about the weather?
Not talking about it.
Not talking about it. It made my day though. David, you got anything?
No, I'm done. I guess just one comment, next week we'll be setting up for election in here in the afternoon, so I'll.
So run the meeting right up till the,
Yeah, if we
about
get
3
out
o'clock.
as early as possible, we'll get it next week. Why is there election? We,
Everyone's getting along so well.
we want mailed out and walk-ins, we are somewhere near 1,100 ballots out already. So there's a big advance push this time.
You see where they, Quentin, they interviewed the, Kansas City, Missouri mayor on Face the Nation yesterday
Is that right?
with the influx of coronavirus, and they're crucifying them a little bit on why they're not closing up restaurants and this and that, so.
Ready?
Yep. I'll make a motion that we adjourn for the day.
Second.
Then second, all in favor?
Aye.
Uh,